Hello and welcome back to UK Highland Photography here on YouTube, the channel dedicated to helping you to become a better photographer. Today we're going to be talking about how histograms can help assist the photographer in the field. Histograms are found not only on the camera, but you will also find them on software such as Photoshop, Lightroom and GIMP. All these programs have histograms built into their actual software. The role of the histogram is to aid the photographer by acting as another form of guide with regards to the exposure of the actual image. Histograms are very good at informing photographers with regards to their shadows, midtones and highlights. So let's break a histogram down into sections and see just how they work in more detail. Here behind me you'll see a photograph which I have taken on my lunch break. Now this photograph was taken on a correct exposure as suggested by my camera's built-in light meter. Now as you will see, the histogram is concentrated mostly around the center of the actual graph itself. Now notice the very faint tall spike at the right hand side of the graph. Now what this histogram is telling the photographer is that the photo is exposed correctly. However, because of the tall faint spike on the right hand side of the graph, it is then giving us an indication that perhaps the highlights might just be a little bit too much overexposed, which the highlights being the white parts of the sky. Right, moving on to the next photograph. It's the same photograph, but this time I have taken it underexposed. Now notice how the histogram now appears to have shifted more to the left hand side of the graph. This shifting / peaking of the graph is the histogram's way of telling the photographer that there's now a lot of shadows within the actual photograph. So in this working example, the histogram is correct as there is a lot of shadows within our photograph. Now let us look at the last photograph. It's the same photograph, but this time I have overexposed the photo. Now, as you can see, the histogram has now made its way all the way over to the right hand side of the graph. This is now a clear indicator to the photographer from the histogram that there's now a lot of highlights appearing within the actual photograph, which is of course very true because it's overexposed. Hence the saying, the camera never lies. So there you go, people. There was our introduction as to what histograms are in photography. They simply assist the photographer with the management of their shadows, midtones and highlights. In general, just try and keep your histogram within the center. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and when you get the time, visit our online shop over at www.ukhighland.com.